Hey, good morning. It says episode 262. It's actually 362, but I think is where we're at.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell that happened, but I must have just hit it wrong. I thought I hit 3. Who cares?
Those darn
Yeah.
support staff of ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like my writer for my comics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta
You're
fire
right. Yep. So, well, doesn't matter. All 8 of you know what's going on. We're here.
That's right.
So, but yeah, welcome. I clicked the live. It said, wait, there's unexpected traffic. Everybody must be using StreamYard with the storm barrel and everything going through and StreamYard and stuff trying to say, hey, we got no power, but we can StreamYard on our phones.
Yeah, I know over here at least there's a lot of places that did lose power in the middle of the night, and we had a lot of rain come through, some potential flooding.
Yeah, so. We've got flood warnings extended through more hours today. It's going to be very rainy here in Michigan. Got some rain already here. Not too bad flooding wise around us. A couple of ponding spots, but that's expected. It's just gonna be a nasty day, and then we get like a few days of clearing up as it gets hotter again.
Yep,
up to 90 by Monday. So, but it's summertime. It's July, so really, I know people complain about it. I go, I'm not. I'll take this heat. I'm enjoying it. It beats what's coming.
yeah. And in January, we'll be complaining it's too cold.
I know. So that's what everybody does on that stuff there. So it's funny, like when I clicked that, it said that I was like 30 seconds to a minute. Wait, what? We can't. We're supposed to go on now. So, but we are live. So, and welcome. Yeah. So a little rain today, and that. So you did. I saw though. We're getting a little ad reading or something, but tying today, I saw you did a closing.
Yeah, we had another busy week. We're very blessed right now. Had a great closing yesterday. It was a fun one because we had the seller in this particular deal, but the buyer, to try to make their purchase agreement stand out, included in the purchase agreement that they would provide tacos at the closing. So we were curious if they would follow through on this, and then question, like, do we actually hold up the closing if they don't bring tacos? What do we do? And they had tacos delivered. So and it was a Tuesday closing. So we had Taco Tuesday at the title company. It was a lot of fun.
Now, were they homemade Taco Bell or some Mexican restaurant?
According to the person who brought them, that it's an authentic Mexican restaurant it came from. So
nice.
I don't know. I don't recall the name of it, but I wasn't familiar with the place, but they were good. And so they brought a bunch of tacos for everyone involved with the closing. So you get fun things like that.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
And then I'll just segue into the ad read. And then in addition to that, we also have a new property that just went up today. Let me get that playing. And turn that volume down. So this is some drone video here of it's 36.2 acres, a 1,900 square foot ranch with a full walkout basement. It's a finished basement, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, gated entryway with a long cement driveway. That's a very large pond. It's fully stocked with fish. You can fish in that pond. Goes as far as 19 feet deep in there. Yeah, it's really good. It's also zoned agricultural. So if you want to, right now it's being harvested for hay by they lease it out to somebody. But if you want to grow soybeans on there or anything else, you can do that. So lots of land there. It's not just that little strip with the trees. It's that grass area to the left as well. So it's a huge lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's got a full barn where they used to have alpacas, llamas, horses, sheep, chickens. So if that's something you want, that barn can handle it. That upper floor of that barn is all for hay storage, and it's got feed chutes that go down to the little stall areas for the animals. So it's priced at $850,000. It's a really great property. So that looks like something you want. Give us a call.
Nice.
And we will take care of it. And I'll post our number here in the comments. 586-232-5144.
Fantastic.
Right. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. So this week, just work, of course. I got nothing really exciting. I'm prepping for San Diego, getting stuff together. been working on that. Going to start packing the suitcases in anticipation of us getting some trades soon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, hopefully soon.
Yep.
So based on the original timeline, it was supposed to arrive July 5th into New York and then transport over to here to a Detroit warehouse where we will pick them up directly from. And anywhere from July 10th, which is today, through the 12th, it's supposed to be there. I think due to language barriers, I'm asking questions and confirmation it arrived in New York on the 5th. I'm trying to find out where it's going from there. They keep replying that it arrived. So I'm like, but where is not here?
Yeah.
Here.
Well, as long as it's in New
So,
York right now, it's at least here at
yeah.
stateside.
Yeah, it's supposedly
It's
stateside.
it's the right hemisphere.
Correct. So it's making its way here. It will, and if you did back our project, you're allowed to change your address. I just sent out notifications that we will close that out within the next 48 hours. So if you've moved or anything like that, be sure to go in there, update your address so your rewards go to the right address.
All right.
Yeah. So exciting stuff. And one last update.
Mm-hmm.
Our next book, Red Winter. Kevin finished the inks on that, and I got it all prepped. And right now it's Shara Lima, our flatter, has worked on with us on multiple projects in the past. She is currently working on it.
Cool.
She'll have them done in about a week or two. So once that comes back, I just got to do minor touches, get the Kickstarter going, and so I'm guessing 4 to 6 weeks we'll probably be ready to launch the Kickstarter there. We're going to have 4 variant covers at least. If Brett wants to join in, he's welcome to also.
Yeah, I'll have you send me some stuff on that so you can work on something.
Yeah, I'll forward you the inked pages so you can see them. And then, but yeah, this is just kind of, it was like, because of how busy Kevin and myself have been, it's been like, I felt like forever to get to this point. But now that we're at this point, it's like, holy crap, it's going to be ready soon. Like, oh my God, how'd this happen?
Even though we're on the air here, we usually talk this off there. Did you want me to do the lettering too, or are you going to handle that?
That's purely your call.
I mean, I don't mind doing it again. I enjoy
yeah, if you want to do it, then by all means, you can be the letterer. But yeah, so I'll just have to read through the script, make sure everything's updated properly.
Yeah, it sent me a correct script this time. I'm like, what was it, issue 2? I got like halfway through, like, oh, it's the wrong script. It's like, crap.
This will be simple though. We're not going to do it in the same style as Crimson Shadows, where we customize the fonts for every character.
No, that's
this is going to be basic, old school, regular lettering.
No, that's how I like doing it for Crimson Shadows. I wouldn't want to do it in every book. It gets a
little that would be a nightmare. It's hard enough with Crimson Shadows.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. Yeah. Send me some
especially as the cast of character grows.
Yeah, I can work on doodling stuff up between over the next few weeks here, and Kevin and I get together in San Diego, and I talk about it there. So
perfect.
Yeah, we'll work on something on that too. So
yeah, so we're excited for this. It's looking good. Very happy with how it turns out. Kevin's inks are always great. So
yes,
he always puts a nice little touch to things that I know I wouldn't have done. Yep. So good times.
Excellent.
So what's going on in the world of Brett Pinton?
Well, I mean, in between working and that stuff and trying to get stuff together, I had TV going all the time when I'm just sitting here doing stuff. So that's how I watch a lot of stuff as I'm in the middle of doing 8 things. So I can half pay attention if I need to, or pay attention fully. I did watch a new series. I was telling Scott before we got in the air, called Fool Me Once. It's a British series. I started, I was like, okay, this seems kind of interesting. It's about this woman. She's former military, and she's married into a very rich family, and her husband gets killed. And then you find out the sister got killed. And then, so there's this whole mystery around this whole stuff. I think it was written by people that have, the Acolyte watched this to show how to not do a series. It just drags on. It's 8 episodes. I'm going, oh my God, it's not done yet. And it's just, and you're figuring this stuff out going, okay, this is just ridiculous. So, right. And then by the time you get to the end and the ending thing they do, I was like, this was stupid. Just a whole dumb mystery thing that, could have been done in a 2-hour movie. It's based on a book and probably should have been a 2-hour movie. It's one of those ones where you watch a movie sometimes. Oh, I wish they'd done more like the book because it's got so much more story. There's no more story. They told it all in this thing, and it was like, no, there's a lot you could have cut out because it was redundant episodes, kind of like how the Acolyte's been redundant episodes. So I
Yeah.
did watch that. I watched a couple of things I really enjoyed watching was Netflix has this documentary on Gene Wilder. Finally watched that.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. It wasn't really anything new, but it was nice to kind of revisit Gene Wilder, the person, and everything else. And being a fan of a lot of his work over the years, I've read a lot and seen a lot of stuff over the years because, I've I liked him from like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, of course, Willy Wonka, and then all the stuff he did after that. Especially all the stuff he did like with Richard Pryor, and they talked a little about that. They interviewed Richard Pryor's daughter, Rain Pryor, quite a bit in this, and a few other people. Very good documentary. If you're a fan of Gene Wilder, definitely check it out. It was really cool. And then probably the two best movies I watched this week. First of all, Netflix, Axel Foley, the new Beverly Hills Cop, very good. That was awesome. That should have been released in the theaters. That was that was fun, enjoyable. It revisited the characters properly. You got to see where everybody's at now. Of course, it's funny when they talk about the timeline. I mean, they give you the years. It takes place now, and he mentions being a cop for 30 years. He's still a cop when you meet him. I was like, no, you've been a cop for 40 years. And he's trying to play younger than what he is in real life, which is he's in his early 60s, and I think they're trying to say he's in his 50s and that. So it was great to see the Axel Foley character again. It's very, very much it's just like the other movies. You're gonna get all the goofy stuff, the funny stuff. You got the two cops back from Beverly Hills Cop. You've got Serge, played by Bronson Pinchot, back, and so I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun, and definitely it's one of those ones that if it got released in the theater, I think it would have done decent. And then the other thing was a theatrical release I finally got a chance to see is Paramount Plus dropped the movie If this week.
Oh, okay. So you can see it on Paramount Plus?
Yes.
Oh, okay. How was it?
I liked it. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. It was enjoyable. I'll probably watch it again at some point because I did enjoy it enough. It's still, from the trailer to actually watching it, I still get all these vibes of the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
That's what it looked like right from the start to me.
And it's got so much that feels like that without it directly ripping up. I mean, they got a character who's purple they call Blue, and the main imaginary friend in Foster's Home was a character named Blue, who was Blue. Right. I don't know if John Krasinski didn't know about that show, which I could see that, as it came out as he's an adult actor and may not be watching this stuff or aware of it. But it definitely had that feeling.
Or another thing, based on interviews, I believe he said he kind of came up with this while talking with his daughter.
Yes.
It could be his daughter watched that.
I could see that, but the show's been off for a while, and his daughter, this is in the last couple of years, and the show's been off for several years now.
Yeah.
I like the show. I remember watching it, and it's actually one of those shows that they actually had a proper ending for a cartoon. And that was surprising.
Right.
Because the guy that wrote it actually had a point he wanted to get. It went for 6 seasons, starting in 2004. So it was done by 2010 or 11.
Yeah, I actually used to love that show when she was little, and I'd watch it with her. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, so I definitely liked If. I thought it was good. It's got, tries to tug at the heartstrings a little bit. You know what's going to happen. There's no real. Here's the Fosters. You can see, the characters here, and then Blue's the little guy down here. Right. You get the bigger ones here, and all these crazy ones.
I always like the big purple guy.
Yeah, and then you get the main girl that works the place, and so it felt like the girl in this could have been the girl that ends up running the place, because you see more of the imaginary friends, and you learn it. And I like the premise of it. I thought it was fun how they were going to try to find the imaginary friends' new kids.
Yeah.
So
Robert says it reminds him of Drop Dead Fred.
I just watched Drop Dead Fred recently again, and I thought it was way better than Drop Dead Fred ever was. I
never saw Drop Dead Fred. It's got that one.
It was about an imaginary friend, and he's caused all kinds of problems. But he was more magical imaginary friend, where he actually stuff happened, and it's because he caused it.
He could affect the real world
in a way, but through the girl. And it was I'm pulling it up now, so it's got Phoebe Cates in it. And I'll pull up an image here. So this was the movie Drop Dead Fred.
Okay.
Came out in 1991. It was okay. I mean, I said I recently watched it again. It's like, oh, I haven't seen this in like 30 years. I'm going, I'm good. I'm good. But yeah, the guy in the greens is Fred and causes problems for the girl. And it's like but the whole thing was, when you really watch it, it's very dull, dry. Drop Dead Fred is. The girl
Okay,
always,
dry
she did
humor.
stuff when she was younger. She did stuff and always blamed it on Fred, because Fred always did this stuff with her. And as an adult, she gets divorced because the husband she's with cheating on her. But she's a very bland character. So
Okay.
it's a movie that if people liked it back in 1991 or 92 in that era of VHS, stuff like that, they probably aren't going to like it now. So
Okay.
I would be surprised. Unless they have nostalgia.
So regarding If, would you recommend watching it?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought If was much better. If had a little bit better story. It was more about reconnecting with your inner child in a lot of ways, where Drop Dead Fred was a whole different premise on that. But it's because the little girl that's in it, she says she's a grown up because her dad's going through heart problems. He's got a broken heart, as they try to say. Well, of course, then you find out the mother had passed away a few years earlier. So it's just her and the dad. She's staying with the grandmother while they're in New York. He's basically going to have heart surgery.
Yeah.
That's played by John Krasinski. He plays her dad, and he's kind of a goofball. I thought that he left a lot out of that with how goofy he was. There's a payoff at the end where with him a little bit, but I thought that it should have been tied more into some of the story. But it worked out either way, because you got Ryan Reynolds as her imaginary friend.
Okay. So here's my question.
Yeah.
For Ryan Reynolds, he's an actual human in this, though, right? He's not like a monster type.
He looks human.
Yeah. Okay. So my biggest problem with any movie Ryan Reynolds is in, other than Deadpool, is he's too much Ryan Reynolds. He annoys me after a while.
He's fine.
Is he too much Ryan Reynolds in this?
Oh no, he's Ryan Reynolds, but he's not over the top, crazy, jumping all over. He plays it a little more serious.
Okay.
There's a couple of those scenes. It reminded me a little bit of, he's playing a little more serious, but it felt a little bit like the Christmas movie he did with Will Ferrell.
Okay.
But he was like in between, more serious and that. So somewhere in between, that's the best way to describe it. So I liked him, and I like him in a lot of things. I don't mind him being Ryan Reynolds. So that's part of the reason I watch his movies, is I expect him to be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
If I want to be something else, then it'd be fine. But
the problem I have with him is he's usually almost nonstop sarcasm, and I think
this one he's
downs.
He's not the sarcasm stuff like that. But of course, this is a different script. Writing he's not controlling it. But I think it also fits him well in this. This is, he's got some of those little bits. He's got the quirkiness of Ryan Reynolds that he needs. Yep. And there's some things he does here and there, that physical stuff like that. But it fits for what it needs to be for this role here, in my opinion. But again, I like Ryan Reynolds, and he doesn't bother me that he's Ryan Reynolds in movies, because that's what I expect. Mm-hmm. Because if I expected anything else, I'd be disappointed, because I don't think he can pull it off.
Yeah. So let's see. Robert has a response.
Yeah, it's he's talking about Forgot Her F and reconnect. But that's about the only thing they have in common, is the fact that the girl forgot about Fred and Drop Dead Fred, and reconnects with him. And she's forgetting about her and everything else. But
that's kind of Beetlejuice too.
But the whole thing with this is that, again, I would never compare the two, only because they both have imaginary friends and they both had forgot. If the girl is 12, she forgot from being 5, where the other girl was 5 and forgot at 30 or whatever, 25 or 30.
Yeah.
It was a whole. I'd never compare the two. So for anybody, the reason I say this, I don't want to stress people. Is like, don't go watch this thinking it's Drop Dead Fred. Watch this because it's not Drop Dead Fred. But like I said, it's kind of like saying, well, they got in common is, it's like saying Buck Rogers and Star Wars, same thing, because they both have a princess in it.
Yeah.
That's about cool. My take on that. So, but yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. It was well done. I'd wanted to go see it in the theater, it's hard to make time to go to the movies and spend 2 to 3 hours. Well, 3 hours, you got to figure travel time, everything else, and everything out of your day when you got so much else going on. So,
all right.
So staying at home, getting work done and watching stuff makes it a little bit easier. So,
yeah. So for
Crawl is
me,
a classic, Robert. Do not bash Crawl. You bash Crawl, I will block you on here.
Crawl.
You ever seen Crawl?
No, it's been eons.
It's it's uh it's a 80s.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It does not rewatch as well though as my
I
memory.
I think it depends. It's still, I thought it was cheesy back then, but it's cheesy
Yeah.
now.
I loved it when I was little. And
Yeah.
I remember I had a Crawl
Yeah.
board game and everything. And then I
Yeah.
rewatched it like during COVID. I rewatched it. And it didn't hold up as well as my memories.
Well, see, I watched it. I watched enough over the years. I guess it's one of the ones I've watched, but it's British also, which is also makes it a little bit drier. But I always like. I love the weapon. And
is that the glaive?
The glaive, yeah.
Glaive. Yeah, that was cool.
And they had a lot of different stuff, and it was such a mix of science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah.
That even when I watched it came out in '83, so I was probably about 13 by the time I saw it, and 13, 14 when it popped up on whatever we had. Either at the time we had either it, and then a couple years later we got cable, and it was the over the air. You get a box that you could watch. They would stream movies or air movies and that unedited. So
I mean, not to go down this whole path, but we've talked about this before. It just always boggles my mind though. Those movies, those sci-fi movies that came out in the mid '80s, like Ice Pirates, Crawl, all these different ones. And then to think Star Wars first came out in 77 there. And when you compare these mid 80s sci-fi movies to Star Wars, how they just, it seems like they're in reverse. It seems like those would have came out 15 years earlier because they're so cheesy often.
Well, and that's the thing. Of course, Robert here says about comparing Crawl, bashing Crawl. He's comparing it. No, he's not. I didn't use Crawl for a reason. I mean, the Crawl itself, while there is sci-fi elements, it's actually more of a King Arthurish style fantasy tied in.
Maybe that's what he means, using Crawl to compare to Star Wars.
Yeah, you can't do that. I didn't feel it. They probably. I'm sure that's the whole reasoning for doing Crawl was we had to have a Star Warsy thing. Yeah, and that's why we had the the guys in big suits. Basically, they're like stormtroopers and stuff like that. But but definitely Crawl was. It's definitely, if you watch it now, I think most people nowadays have never seen it. If they watch it, they might be bored. They might not find it entertaining.
Storytelling
I enjoy it, but this again falls in one of my many 80s movies categories that I like, and that's why I pick up stuff. It's whenever I see them, it's like I even picked up recently, and this kind of didn't hold up, but I still like the nostalgia feel of it. It's a movie called Joysticks. And it came out in the 80s, and it was about the arcades in the early 80s. And so it's just a typical, teenage nudie com type movie. And then I already own the digitally of this. I probably even have a DVD of this. I did pick up Matinee, came out with a special edition. I got it because there's a ton of cool extras I like on stuff like that. And if you've never seen Matinee, you got to see Matinee. That's a brilliant film as well. For sure. But because I like I do. That's why I buy all these 80s movies I grew up on, because I a lot better than some of the crap they've been putting out lately.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I've been watching, and I'm not going to give spoilers. I've been watching House of the Dragon, and this last episode, I'll tell you what, this is all I'll share is a screenshot. This is kind of like, you had Game of Thrones where dragons haven't been seen in a long time, and then Daenerys comes along and she has 3 dragons, but they're all on the same side. And it's kind of like, referencing Star Wars, where we didn't see much. There were very few lightsabers and very few Jedi or Sith through those. And then when the prequels came out, we finally got to see them truly battling it out, While here you got dragons on different sides, and you get to see dragon warfare. And it's phenomenal what they did here. And in true Game of Thrones style, it's bloody, it's chaotic, it's mass devastation, and it's phenomenal. And I did not want that episode to end, so I'm not gonna give spoilers, but I'll tell you what, I've really been enjoying House of the Dragon season 1 and 2, but it's been, it's a prequel. It's setting up the stories that come, and it felt like prequel. This was the first episode where I was like engaged and like, wow. this is amazing. So definitely check out House of the Dragon if you can. It's definitely worth um, getting an HBO subscription just to watch it through and then cancel it after it's done. It's
Yeah.
worth the watch. It's really taken on its own life here, and very well done. So it's very satisfying. And like I was telling Brett off air, I, in the middle of this episode, I even like kind of woke up for a second, and be like, "Wow, this is the first time I felt this enjoyed in a long time." So, yeah, but yeah,
Good.
so yeah, I'm gonna try to watch the first episode. All go back and watch Seinfeld. The first couple episodes are painful. Go back and watch Star Trek Next Generation. The first couple episodes are painful. All all series are painful at those openings because the actors don't know their characters yet. The writer they haven't found the voices, the flow. In a show like this, there's a lot of setup they're doing, and it was slow. And the hard part about season one is you go through a half a season and then you switch actors for the character. So now you got to get to know new actors and like them. And so it is a little jumpy for sure. If you're having difficult watch season one, just jump right into season two and just watch a recap of season one.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything unbelievably vital in season one that you
No, I
couldn't
did
just,
watch season 1 and I enjoyed it.
yeah,
I want to watch season 2. I don't have HBO right now, and I figure, well, try to decide, with everything going on the next few weeks, I'm kind of like, well, if I wait till after San Diego and I'm wanting something to watch, I could get it then, binge it for the most part, be done with it, and then
yeah,
cancel, like you said. Um, so just try not to have too
yeah.
many of these streaming services anymore. Although they're starting to merge up again. If you've heard about that,
Yeah, I know. So what I'll say is this though, the slowness of season one is paying off now because you know these characters very well. You know their interactions, what you know, their past hurts against each other, all of this. So as things are unfolding now, you have a vested interest in these characters. So it is a little slow season one, but it's paying off now.
yeah,
So that's all I would say is if you enjoy the Game of Thrones, not counting the last season, it's starting to feel that way again in this. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, good time with that.
But yeah, I was alluding to, of course, the new Paramount Plus being bought up by Skydance. They also took over, was it Fubo TV or one of those? Or
Yeah, and they
Pluto TV.
Skydance fully took them over, so that means they own Star Trek now and all of those rights.
Yeah.
Is my understanding. And then I guess they've been working together for a long time, and they said they feel Skydance understands their own vision and where
Yeah, I was
things are
looking through
going.
the Variety article here about it, and of course they're going to cut at least $2 billion in cost cuts, which is a
Yeah,
lot. But this is also part of their
yeah,
merger, so it's going to be over their entire portfolio, which is
yeah,
it's a lot, but it's not, because I mean you're also dealing with not just Paramount Plus, in the movie side, you're also dealing with CBS,
yeah,
MTV, Comedy Central, all those brands,
yeah,
plus what Skydance brings to it already.
yeah.
So there's gonna be, and I think
So,
it's gonna be a lot of trimming the fat type stuff they do. It always looks worse in articles than what it
yeah,
really is in terms of that. But I think the big thing is they're coming in and hopefully they're gonna continue on some good
yeah,
shows like Star Trek, Brave New
yeah.
World. It's
The big thing with the merger is the Sumner family had controlling interest in Paramount, and they have fully sold off their shares to Skydance.
yeah.
So the Sumner family is no longer associated with Paramount.
Right. Right. And then Skydance Media's been around for a while. They have
Or Sumner,
definitely
Redstone family. Sumner was the first name of the father.
okay.
So.
Some of the rest, yeah. If you look up Skydance, they've done a bunch of stuff within animation, other stuff. They've got
I
different
think
series.
they also do video games, don't they?
I think so, yeah. But they do stuff with Apple TV. They're part of they work with Prime. They did the Reacher series.
Okay.
So there's a whole mix in that stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see everything that happens going forward. And of course, as you'll see with a lot of different streaming series, just because they buy like a Paramount doesn't mean they're going to stop dealing with like Prime and all those guys. Because if you watch most of the stuff, they'll say, "Oh, here's a CBS produced show." It's just nobody really cares where it airs as long as everybody's getting paid. So
Yeah. Regarding Paramount, a series Jill and I just started. They're into season 2 right now, but we just started season 1. It's called Your Honor. That's Bryan Cranston there.
yes,
We are only one episode in, and it starts off with a bang. It's phenomenal, the show. So definitely something that's worth checking out. The acting it feels very cinematic.
yeah. It's also, I
The
believe, on
acting,
Netflix as well. It's got Netflix, Roku channel, Paramount
correct.
Plus have it. So
Yep.
it's across a couple platforms now.
So there's 2 seasons out. They've talked about whether or not there'll be a season 3. My bet is with this new Skydance thing. My bet is they pick it up for a season 3. Is my bet. And it sounds like the actors are willing to do that. So we'll see where it goes. But very impressive. First episode, really, it's kind of slow moving, but it's impactful the way they do it, and feels very cinematic, like I said. So Your Honor, Paramount Plus, but yes, like you said, it is on Netflix as well.
Yeah. Now I was looking up an article here because Cranston in last 2 years ago said that Your Honor season 2 is its final season.
Right.
So he did say
And
that
just recently,
he's now come back saying that it says one condition he would come back. I was looking to see what that condition is.
okay,
Here we go.
$1 million.
He said before the interview, he admitted that the decision on season 3 was above his pay grade. Would be happy to see it continue. And he noted how Showtime had interest in renewing the show for another set of episodes. However, the main condition moving forward would be if he produced the show and did not appear on camera. Since I don't want to get a spoiler at the end of season 2 there.
Yeah.
So something happened in the season 2. But so he doesn't want to actually star in it. He just wants to produce it now and they go forward with something else. So I'd be interested to see that. So no spoilers on that since I haven't watched it. But I'll probably check it out. I've been looking at this one going, I hear it's really good. And it's 20 episodes, so it's not bad to watch to get
They could do a season 3 where Bryan Cranston is the judge persecuting Walter White. And he is playing both sides of the
Okay, because I saw a spoiler.
Well, don't reveal the spoiler.
I'm not going to comment on any of that, and so do not speculate until you get through it. Because
I'm just saying Walter White died.
Well, no.
Could come back.
I don't think you need to speculate until you see this.
And we have cloning.
No. Personally, I think the Walter White, they need to be done with it. He's dead and gone. Be done with it. It's been too long. I like where his character's at with that.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that on the last DVD set, they had him waking up in bed from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
That was a great Newhart tie-in.
Here's the thing with Breaking Bad. They pulled off one of the hardest things to do in all of television, and that's do a solid finale. It's very hard to create an amazing show and wrap it up in a way where people feel happy or satisfied in what they had. Breaking Bad did that. And you would think it would be easy, but based on the stats, more times than not, people are not happy with finales.
No.
Seinfeld had a horrible finale. They had to use the Larry David show to fix it 30 years later or whatever, however many, not 30 years, but
the problem with a lot of series though, when they go to end is they don't know how to end it. They don't know where they need to go with it. Especially if you got sometimes a detailed, complex storyline. It was like Lost. The problem with Lost was they got lost in their own story, and they said, "Hey, this is your last season." Like, well, okay, and they still didn't know how to wrap it up, and so they just went and did all the fan theory stuff, which made it suck because it didn't feel like they fulfilled any of the stuff they set up.
Right. I feel like the first half of their run, they were purposely making decisions like whatever fans said, they would do something that wasn't said to surprise people. So they would actually change what they were doing just to keep surprising people. And then they didn't know where they were. So then they had to start stealing fan theories, I think, to try to make it work. And it just, they should have had a unified vision. And to be fair to Lost, it was a new genre where they were trying to create these crossover multimedia things where you could go online and log in and see different things. And they had like phone numbers would appear on the screen in the background. And if you called it, you would be talking to DARPA, like there was all these weird things. They were trying to make this multi-platform interactive thing. So it was just weird. It was an amazing show until final 2 seasons. It went off the went off the rails.
Yeah.
And then they just pulled the whole Dallas. It was all a dream.
Well, yeah, no, it was all true that he met them all up in like purgatory, and then like, and so it was all really. I was like, whatever. But by that point, when we got to that last season of Lost, it was almost like it wasn't must watch TV. It was kind of like, all right, let's see what the hell they did this week.
Yeah, let's get it over with.
Yeah, it was just like Walking Dead. I know people loved Walking Dead through the end, but I didn't. In the last few seasons, I stopped watching completely. But I got to the point where I was DVRing Walking Dead to watch it after it aired, just so I could fast forward through the tens of minutes of them doing nothing but sitting there talking.
They became the show that was their name. Every episode was The Walking Dead.
Yeah, there was no real story progression. It stuck on that. Unlike The Boys, who brought in Jeffrey Dean Morgan, we got a great surprise with him last week.
God, yeah, that was good. Boys have been they're really hitting home runs, I think, with every episode.
Yep.
This last episode was like, oh my God.
Oh geez, it just they really do not hold back at all.
They do,
especially the ending.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on, I'm not sexually attracted to you.
Some of the stuff they do is just like, oh my God.
The only thing I think of when I watched that scene was it popped in my head from Grandma's Boy. Do you remember Grandma's Boy?
No.
Came out in around 2006 and 2007.
I don't remember that.
It's one of the Happy Madison movies. Great movie. It's funny. It's got a lot of humor in it. But it's got the one kid. Oh, what's his name? He's been in a ton of movies since then. The grandma was the mom from Doris Roberts. She played the grandma. She's passed now. But it's got Alan Covert plays Alex, and Peter Dantes plays Dante. Nick Swartzen. It's the first time I really seen Nick Swartzen. And then Linda Cardellini's. And basically, it's set around a video game company, and the main character Alex basically gets kicked out of his apartment that he's living because the guy wasn't paying rent because he was going down to Madame Wong's all the time, and spending all the rent money on Madame Wong's women. So it's that kind of comedy in that. But they have this house party. It ends up being this party at the house, at Grandma's house. It just happens, and Jonah Hill is one of the guys, and this is when Jonah Hill was huge when he was just coming up, and when they invited some of the Madame Wong's girls, there was a bunch of strippers were there, and the ones there, and she's got big eyes, and she looks and goes, "Baby want milk?" And that's the first thing I thought of when I saw the Homelander scene. Because baby wanted milk.
Yeah, that was a little crazy.
But yeah.
Do you ever watch the behind this? Not so when you watch it online, at least I think you can see it on the regular. But
yeah, they show
an option called X. Well, and there's also an option called X-ray, and if you click that, they have them all sitting around, like 5 of the actors and the producer sitting around talking about the episodes. Okay. That's interesting to watch too. But what really blows me away is the actor who plays Homelander, Anthony Starr.
Yeah,
like. When I first started watching those segments, I'm like, who's that guy? Because he's got dark hair and a beard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who is this guy? And then he started talking. I'm like, oh, Homelander's voice. I couldn't believe it was. He looks so different.
I think that's
that character.
I think it's probably the beauty for him is he can now still walk around town. Yeah, and people aren't going to really recognize him outside of the, unless they know from another role, and he looked more himself.
Because his hair is naturally dark.
Yeah, so he dye it for all that. So
yeah, so he just looks so different.
All right, Robert, we'll see you. Thanks for not
take care, Robert.
Yeah, I'm loving The Boys. It's great. We only got a couple more episodes left this season, but it's definitely pretty good. I know you got a trailer you want to share, and then I got one too. So
okay, yeah. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, let's talk about this one here.
Okay, let's put this up. Yeah, they just released Gladiator 2 with Pedro Pascal and Paul Mescal. Mm-hmm. And
Denzel Washington. So who looks awesome in this. He looks great in this too. So
yeah, it's been a long time since we had the first Gladiator movie, but based on what I'm seeing
22 years.
Yeah, based on this though, it might be worth the wait. So let's get it going.
Yeah.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects, she must feed them.
They can eat war.
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, the gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Rage. That rage is your gift.
This is about survival! Survive! Hold together, and when it charges, break for the wall.
Whose head could I give you that would satisfy this fury?
The entire Roman armies.
Too much?
The general will do.
Rome must fall. I need to only give it a push.
We make it out alive. All right. Hands on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you.
What is the dream of Rome? That people are not free.
I was owned. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Strength another! This how Rome treats its heroes! Hands on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors. The gods are
I think it was really good. Just initial production look, it fits the way the original Gladiator look, which actually came out in 2000, so it's been 24 years.
And it's Ridley Scott still doing this.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal too. You know, the last few movies he's done, he's looking a little out of shape, but he definitely got back in shape for this. It looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure when they were filming it, but definitely.
But yeah, he
looks good. I personally, he's doing all this stuff now, and he's got these roles, and he got it because of the Mandalorian. He can, that's how he got his name out there more. And he complained about not being seen in the Mandalorian. It's like, dude, you didn't need to be seen. People are seeing it now.
Yeah.
And as long as he's doing good stuff, then I think he can stick around. But I like it. It looks good. I like the story they're kind of telling in the trailer, but I think there's a lot more to it. The release date is the same day as the Wicked movie. I believe it's November 22nd.
Oh, okay.
So I saw something this morning about it, and they're talking about they're trying to give it the mashup name like they did with Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbenheimer.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. Which one's going to win out? Well, Wicked's probably going to win out that weekend, but Gladiator looks good, and as long as it really is good, I think it could definitely jump out pretty high that opening weekend. I would say at least getting 70 to 80 million, but probably over 100 million easy.
Yeah, I think there'll be a big turnout for that. People
are ready for a good film like that.
Yes. Ready for a movie that's filled with masculine energy. It's a nice departure. Yeah, like even on Netflix or Amazon Prime, I forget, but My Lady Jane, it's like another one. It's like, here we go again. And then
they got the new one on Netflix with oh god, what's the hell's her name? I haven't watched it yet because it's just
Yeah.
I just
It's
can't buy
always the
into
same
it.
thing
So
over and over again. Whereas like this one with Pedro Pascal, what I really liked about this is it also takes us kind of to our origins of where many of us first discovered him was on Game of Thrones. His character was a very physical character, Oberon. And his action scenes were phenomenal. His fight scenes were phenomenal. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him in this role.
Yes.
And kind of reviving that kind of physicality that just I love seeing on screen.
Yeah. It's Jessica Alba. She got this movie on Netflix called Trigger Warning. It came out a few weeks ago. I just can't buy into it. She's supposedly a special forces retired, and I'm just like, it doesn't fit. I'm sorry. Her looks with everything else and her physicality looks doesn't fit with this type of character. I don't buy it. So that's why I haven't watched it, and it's not getting good reviews. It's way low, and I'm like, it's one of those I'm looking at. I just don't want to waste the 2 hours to watch it, and definitely, I mean, it's too much crap I've watched lately. Just disappoints right away. So
same with the preview for the new Agatha for Marvel.
Oh God, that trailer was bad. I'm not sharing that one either.
Yeah, it's just
I saw that trailer and I was like, okay, this just doesn't. I don't know. It's just like they still don't know what to do in the whole Marvel. And the only thing I'm watching, go, okay, they're calling it Agatha all this time or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm watching going, okay, so now they can use this series to wipe out everything, and then whatever comes out next will be the reboot.
Agatha all along, I think is
all along, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It just looks stupid. Meanwhile, the things people actually want from Marvel. Mm-hmm. At the end of the other show there, White Vision shows up and then flies away. Where is he? He's still just flying around the earth for 5 years now. Like the characters we actually want to see, nothing.
Well, and the problem is,
let's do another Agatha series. Yeah. That's what.
Actually, I was like, okay, I like the character. I was like, this might be cool if they're going to do a really cool witches series. But again, it doesn't look like they're going that route. It looks like it's old, just whatever. We're throwing just crap on the wall and see what sticks. So
exactly. So like, I'm not really thrilled about Agatha. I probably won't watch it.
Yeah.
Unless I hear that something amazing that comes out of that series, then maybe I'll go back and watch it. I did see. It sounds like they are filming Thunderbolts. I saw some comments come out regarding that recently. So,
well, they're moving forward with a lot of stuff they seem to imply they were going to get rid of. So I don't know what they're changing.
Yeah,
I assume if they're smart enough to do this, they're going to get rid of all the multiverse stuff and just kind of deal with a decent story. We don't need everybody jumping through the multiverse like crazy. But I don't know. We'll have to see on that. But one thing I did see a trailer for, and this is interesting, because we were talking about, Krull came up, 80s movies like that. This is a remake, and I believe it's going to be a movie, and it's going to be on Apple TV. I don't have that, so I haven't decided yet. It's one of those films that if people watch the original one today, kids today be like, it's kind of slow. I loved it as a kid, and it was the original Time Bandits.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the trailer for it yet.
Yeah, well, that's what this is here. So I'm going to share this and then get what you think about it. So here we go.
A normal person with normal friends.
Well, I've Scott.
You're stuck in the past, Kevin.
You got to stop it with all these Vikings and the ancient Greeks.
Greeks.
As well.
Mom, my wardrobe's moving.
Whoa!
Hold on. How is he here?
What's going on?
Your room. It's a time egress.
He's never done that before.
And it allows us to travel throughout the universe.
Tell me who you are, or I will kill you.
I am Penelope, and I am, in effect, the leader. Fundamentally, though, we are all equal.
Who are you guys?
We're the Time Bandits, a crack team of expert thieves. Nothing is too big for us to steal. Oh, okay. Now that we're close, maybe it is too big to steal.
You have a map that can take us through time. Wow, Mansa, some people say you're even richer than Jeff Bezos from Amazon.
Wealthier than the mighty Jeff Bezos of the Amazon. We have no knowledge of who that is.
That map cannot and must not fall into the wrong hands. I shudder to think what would happen.
Bring me that map.
With it, I could create a universe of pure evil.
Stop laughing.
It's evil, therefore it's serious.
Return the map!
What did everyone steal? I got this beautiful vase.
Vase.
Oh, vase?
Vase.
Everyone got a vase?
Yeah.
Thanks you all. For a brief moment in my life, I felt like I was part of a team.
Yes, okay. Let's take him home.
This isn't my house.
Yeah, there's your family over there.
They're not my family.
But they look exactly like you.
Well, this sounds like a family matter, and we should give them space.
So my reaction, I guess, on two levels. Just purely this, forget it. That this is there was a Time Bandits before. Looks fun.
Yeah.
I think I will enjoy it. I am a little apprehensive with Taika Waititi being part of it because once again, he's starting to prove he doesn't know when. Kind of like my worry about Ryan Reynolds is he doesn't shut it off sometimes, and he will overtell a joke.
Well, and it's
So-
I think also he's proven lately that he likes to destroy.
Well, and those were his words.
Yeah.
He likes to destroy.
And he's obviously playing the God character in this.
Yeah, but
if you know the movie, so
yeah, but based on just the trailer as a standalone, it looks like something I would enjoy watching.
I would give it a
would
try.
I would give it a try.
Yeah, I just worry because again, and I saw someone else post about it too, mentioned that same thing because of what he did with Love and Thunder. It's like, this is
right.
The other thing is I keep wondering, okay, is Phoebe from Friends really good for the lead on this? I like her. She's all right,
Yeah.
but I'm so used to, this was originally Terry Gilliam. It was a very British production.
Mm-hmm.
So this is now brought in around that, which is fine. I mean, I'm not criticizing that per se, but it's like, okay. And then, of course, the original one had a lot of little people as the main actors.
Well, that was the next part I was going to get to is taking into account that this is from something that was from the past. Now, I did see a couple little people in the trailer there. It looks
like you were with God, so.
Right. But I find, because the little people were on the good side in the original, if I remember correctly.
In the original one, they all worked for God in one way, and they stole the map, which allows them to travel through time, and they were basically stealing stuff through time. That's what they did.
Right.
And it was funny because, the kid got sucked in with them by mistake.
Right, and they were with the main character in the original, right?
Yeah, they were with the kid.
Like here, they replaced them with these other characters.
Yeah, what worked in the original I liked was it was a lot of little people, and they were all adult little people.
Correct.
But because they were around the same height, with the kid was like a little bit taller than them, it was all like they were on the same level, and they, well, then you also had a big scene in the original one with Sean Connery, where the kid wanted to stay there because his parents in the original one, his parents suck.
Yeah.
And they talk about that. And this one here, they look like they're still kind of jerks, but and then it looks like nobody likes him. They never got into all that outside of his room in the house in the original one. So they're expanding that aspect of the character.
Yeah. I think on its surface, I'm fine with this and it looks good. My only issue is when you take into the political environment of wokeness, for some reason, out of sympathy, little people can't get cast in anything anymore. No. Even in little people roles. In Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they got cut out because Tyrion Lannister, Peter Dinklage, came out complaining that they used little people, and then he effectively made little people unemployed, and they were mad. They're like, okay, nice that you can get whatever role you want, but we can't. So thanks a lot for getting us fired. So that CGI characters are now in our place, and now here's Time Bandits where it's roles for little people and those got cut out. And that's the part that's bothering me is we can't take political correctness so far. We're so worried of being offensive that we will actually destroy people's chances. Just like the Redskins for football. The Native Americans were part of designing that logo. The portrait of the guy who was used was an actual Native American. Everything involved. Land O'Lakes, that was a Native American family involved. Oh, nope, you got to go because it's like you're effectively erasing cultures and it's good
in the name of not offending somebody.
Right. By having little people in roles, you normalize it.
And
you allow us to get used to them.
And it's called like with the Land O'Lakes thing. It came out heavily from the family of the man that created the original paintings.
Right.
Like he was Native American. This wasn't,
right.
And it was done with love. It was done with respect.
Right.
And
it wasn't some bad
same thing with
stereotype.
the pancakes. It was
Yep. Aunt Jemima. She was a real person.
Yeah, and she was someone that they had. If you read her story, she was hired to be this character, and she embodied it. And she was one of the first Black millionaires in America, and she did a lot for a lot of other people. But she stayed that role forever because she knew what it was. It was a way of bringing people together, regardless of their station in life and color.
Right. And if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong on this, but I thought I had read that her estate, her family to this day was making money off of her likeness still, but now they don't because she got taken off of everything. So,
right. And I could see that. And that's the whole thing. She did. She actually owned the character and,
right.
So it's.
Yeah. So I wish
it's just the whole thing with the branding. They accused of engaging in racial stereotyping, and PepsiCo is the one that owns them now. I pulled it up so I could see this, make sure that stuff. But it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. They do all this stuff, and I can see where the family's making money, and I don't want to pay them, and that would be the reason for doing it. Is purely money.
Well, I think it's because the woke movement came out though and started going after all these companies and wanting them removed. And so regarding Time Bandits, I wish the little people were involved more with the main roles like they were in the original. However, if that didn't exist, it looks enjoyable. It looks fine. It kind of, to me, has the same vibes as the Chris Pine Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like it's that line of comedy.
Yes.
And that was enjoyable. It was good enough. Wasn't great, but it was good enough.
I have the same worries about it, and so that's why I'm like, well, let's see what Scott has to say here today.
Yeah.
But it's just the same thing of too. It's like, okay, so you guys are going to do this, remakes. Time Bandits was such a wholly unique film. It's like, how are we just getting completely away from being able to recreate anything new? I mean, nothing's technically new in the long run when you really want to get down to semantics, but at the same time, it's like, this was kind of cool. It was, here's these characters, and it didn't matter they were little people, because really, I think nobody even acknowledged they were little people. They just were there.
Yeah, those kind of roles help normalize that. So it's not weird or, the more we see people of different conditions, the more we get used to it, and the more we can accept them in society without them being viewed as different.
Yeah.
And
that's definitely, and Peter Dinklage was definitely wrong with the whole Snow White thing, because it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But if you really look at all the Seven Dwarfs, who they are, and you had the Disney version, and they're redoing this, but you had Doc. Basically, he was a smart doctor. Dopey was the dopey one. He's kind of, but there's a lot of characters within that you could deal with a lot of different things, and having these characters come in played by little people. There's a lot of them looking for work that like to act. And they could have been, and if they wanted to be a little more woke, well, it didn't have to be all men. They could have. They want to mix in little people that are female too. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when he said that, because literally I just pulled up an article, and it was like the next day Disney came out and said, okay, we'll just do CGI magical creatures, and change the name to just Snow White, and that's all they're calling it, Snow White.
Yeah, so they screwed up there, and then of course the actress who they cast as Snow White, because the skin was white as snow, doesn't resemble that at all. And she just couldn't shut her mouth. And she practically sank the whole movie with her words. So they had to kind of push it back a year.
They pushed away. But it's just like everything live action with the stuff. they do these live actions just to continue their brand. And that's all it is. It's really not telling a good story. It's just they want to make it look halfway decent to get enough money, and so that then it locks in their copyrights and trademarks for another 95 years. So
exactly. Well, and to be fair, when Crimson Shadows makes it big and we have our multi-million-dollar deal and come out, and 20 years later, we're going to want to redo it because we want to keep it alive.
As long as we're
you know, and it's all well and good for us fans. You know,
Yeah.
our memories are of a certain thing, but the creators have a right to keep the product alive by reissuing it.
Oh yeah,
And
I don't begrudge them that, but I haven't enjoyed hardly.
no, I
anything
know.
live
I'm just
action.
talking to the masses right now.
Yeah.
Because people are like, why don't they just leave it dead? You know, my memories are good with the old one. Well, that's why, because the creator needs to keep the rights active. You have to come out with new stuff, or else you lose it, and then it becomes public domain, and then everyone else out there can make money off of your creation.
Yeah.
So that's why. And if you don't want to support the new stuff, you don't have to. That's the nice thing. We have enough digital content. You can rewatch the old stuff.
Yeah, but when it comes to that Snow White, though, there's nothing new been released about it. So even if I don't even know if they filmed it. I knew they had the.
No, I think it's
stills.
done. I think they just shelved it for a year. Let's see.
Yeah.
Snow White.
It'll come out, like here it is. Go see it.
Yeah, my understanding is it was done. It was supposed to come out a while ago, and just before, I think they were trying to make it. They thought she was going to be big off of Hunger Games, I think, and they were hoping to ride the coattails of that, going right into Snow White. But because of her comments,
well, yeah, right now they showed us 2025 coming out, so March of next year.
Yeah,
and that, so
let's see, it's in delay. Yeah, it was supposed to come out March of 2024, but they pushed it back to March of 2025. They claimed other things, but I know it's because of her comments.
Oh no, it was that and a couple other things. The whole thing, it was just getting negative press left and right. Between Dinklage, her, and everything else, and plus the fact that people are just tired of these, these remakes of live action into live action. So, but yeah, they went CGI with everything. I mean, it's and they're magical creatures. Of course, there's the stills out there where they had like CGI dwarfs, and like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're going to use them, use real people. Otherwise, it's just like they're doing. You saw that they have a trailer for a new Lion King, and it's basically Mufasa.
It's the backstory.
Who cares? We don't need all that. And then they make it live action looking, and it's not real live action, so it's just animated. So,
Yeah, I think it won't do well as animated, but look at Pixar and Despicable Me 4. Our theaters were packed locally all week.
Yeah.
And it was people going to see those. We tried to go see Inside Out 2. But the theater lost power, so they had to give us vouchers to come back. So we still haven't seen that. We want to.
Over the weekend, it started on the 4th of July. Started Wednesday was when Despicable Me came out. Since then, it's done 122 million here in the United States.
Yeah, so another 100 million movie,
yeah,
which has been rare lately.
Yeah, it was 75 million over the weekend. So just the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Inside Out 2 has already crossed the $500 million mark. That's huge.
That's huge nowadays.
Everything else is way less down. I mean, you got the Quiet Place Day 1. It's hit 93 million.
Which that actually surprises me
in
comparison to other movies.
Well, I think it's because there's not much choice out there right now. They're showing 96 million domestic right now, 83 million international, so 180 million worldwide for that one. I personally didn't care to go see it because I'm like, it's just, again, a prequel to two movies we've already seen. And it's all this, and the second movie I was kind of really over it anyways. The whole you gotta be quiet and all this other stuff, and it's been overused in a lot of things lately.
And the people I've talked to who have seen it said it adds absolutely nothing. You don't learn more about the aliens. It's just pretty much an extended 90-minute sequence of the opening scene we see in the first movie.
Yeah. So, but a lot of stuff you look at, the ones that had the decent are cresting between 90 and 110 million.
How did the Kevin Costner one do?
That one's
bombing, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's only done 22 million.
Yeah, they're trying to blame they're saying, well, it's the Yellowstone fans are punishing Kevin Costner. It's like, that's not what it is. It's just Westerns as a whole are a hard sell.
Actually, you know what I think hurt him the most on this?
What?
Is they announced right away there's 2 parts.
Yes.
And then you see that part 1 is already 3 hours long, and then part 2 comes out in August, so it's probably another 3 hours. And then he says, "Well, I want to do 4 parts." Yeah. In a lot of ways, what he should have done was did a movie, released it, and if he had money to make 2 movies, work on the second film already.
Correct.
You know, and then announce after the first one, okay, 6 months from now, here comes another. And you can call it the American Saga. Like, here's Horizon American Saga. The next one would be, I don't care what it's called, something American Saga. And then it's just, from there, then he can build from there in these movies. When you say, oh, it's 4 parts, now people are kind of going, do I really want to go see a movie and not sure if they're going to do the 4 parts?
And I feel like movies just don't do as well in general when there's a part 1, part 2. Just do them as write the movie so there's a proper ending. And you can have, just like with Star Trek 2 to 3 to 4, you can have each movie back to back to back, but they still stand alone as individual movies as well. Just write a proper ending and then have the next movie start immediately where that ending is. And just don't call it part 1, part 2.
And that's when you look at, if you look at Star Trek 2 and 3, at the end of 2, Spock sacrifices himself. They could have left it at that. And if they never did another movie, it was Spock sacrifice.
Yeah, it's an ending. It's a proper ending.
But Star Trek 3, it was like the search for Spock. So they had a whole thing they could bring in from, again, pulling back from episodes of the original series to tie into what they were doing.
And the open sequence is the funeral.
Yeah.
For Spock. So they start it right there.
Right.
But they aren't advertised as part 1 and part 2 of one larger movie.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's part of the problem has been for many years now is the fact that they want to make so much money on these movies that they're forgetting that the movies that did make the money they're trying to, capitalize on did it for a certain reason. They were good storytelling. And that's something you and I harp on a lot here. I mean, look at, everybody complained like, oh, Harry Potter's getting split into 2 movies. Well, it needed to. There was a lot of story to tell, and they told you ahead of time. Here's what we got to do. So much story we want to cover, want to film. We can't have you sitting there for 5 hours.
Well, the other key, though, too, is...
And then you had the other ones like the Hunger Games one says, well, we're going to split our last book, too. Well, that was strictly a money. They didn't need to split it.
They didn't have enough content to split. So they put
dragged
a lot of fluff.
Stuff. Yeah. So, and it was just a bunch of garbage on that. And stuff like that. So it became the norm of, well, we're going to split the last movie in the series because we didn't make twice the money.
But like with Harry Potter, though, I think it had they started with splitting, if they split the first movie into a part 1 and part 2, it probably would have failed.
Yes.
But because it was the end and it was they created such a strong fan base, that was the point where fans liked minutia at that point. And so it feeds the fans. Whereas like, with this one, the Kevin Costner one, there's no established fan base for this. So doing a part 1 and a part 2 is kind of like,
well, that's the whole
thing. Sit through all this.
Well, and that's the whole thing. And I want to see it, but at the same time, I'm going, it's 3 hours long or over 3 hours. So I'm planning on, a 4.5, 5 hour time out of my day to go see this film, right. And I see, and the trailer doesn't look bad, but I was thinking, oh, it's part 1, part 2. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to do maybe 2-hour movies. No, he's doing these grand epics.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I think it's going to be too big. And I think it's just not going to.
Lord of the Rings can get away with it because the fan base is very well established.
That's the whole thing. Fan base on a lot of stuff will take care of you on the length of the film. But even then, you look at the Lord of the Rings, they came out with, for home release, they've done them as special events in theaters, but home release, they did the extended cut, added like an hour. So they had so much stuff they cut out, they could still add another hour and made it, went from a 9-hour to a 12-hour series, but when you start off that way from the get-go, I think that's where you lose people. And again, certain things, like I said, like a Harry Potter, and that needed to be split up in 2, because the book was like this thick. There was a lot of stuff going on in there, and they did the right point in Harry Potter of splitting it with Dobby's death.
Correct.
Because in the next part, when it comes in, they dealt, you took off right from there, and then it was like, we got to talk to the Goblin. Then it takes off from there and starts running with everything they're doing, and gets you through. I mean, it's just a nonstop run till the very end. And that works. But if they had tried to do that in a 3-hour movie, too much stuff would have been condensed, and as much as they already leave out from the movies compared to the books, it'd been even more that needed to be done and stuff like that. So they handled things, I think, better with that. But too much of a money grab. And the thing is, this is quit trying to make all this. It's just like the DC. The whole reason for them wanting to do a Justice League movie was because Avengers made $1 billion. They wanted $1 billion. They got it on a couple movies, but the problem is they spent so much money trying to get it, they really made no money. And they really have done nothing to build a fan base in terms, the people that love it say they love it, but even that's gone off where people still nowadays going, oh, Marvel sucks now, but I still love watching Avengers, things like that. So I think that's the problem we're in right now is, and we've been in for many years, it's too much about trying to make the end money, not realizing that if you tell something people are going to really connect with and enjoy, you're not building new fans for a new, fandom.
Yeah.
They're killing off too many of the existing fandoms.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a shame because, we're all walking around going, younger people are like, what's your fandom? Like, well, I watch such and such with my dad or my mom. And, so that's probably it. But they're not getting it. They're not getting a new Star Wars. They're not getting, even Hunger Games and stuff, they really had no lasting fan base there, but they need, I think, Harry Potter, all those kids have now grown up and are adults, and they're introducing their kids, and it's still an ongoing fandom. But what's the next Harry Potter? What's the next Star Wars? What's the next Star Trek? What's the next whatever that's going to build a theme park? I guess
exactly
out of nothing.
Well, the next true fandom film is going to be Deadpool, so that's just over 2 weeks away.
Yep,
from its release. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, outside of that though,
well, we'll be at San Diego Comic-Con that week. Kevin and I will be. Come see us. We'll be in M04, I believe is our table number in Small Press. We'll be posting more stuff on that over the next 2 weeks.
When do you leave for San Diego?
We leave the
23rd?
Tuesday.
The 23rd?
23rd, yeah. And we're leaving. We got to be at the airport at 6:30 because we leave at 8:30. Our original flight was a 12:30 flight, and they bumped us down to 8:30.
Okay.
So, and I was like, oh, crap, so we're getting in early. So I talked to somebody so we can try to stash our bags at the show because we're probably not going to have a space set up yet. Just until we can come back later that night on Tuesday to do a little mini setup and move everything around. And so we can't get in the Airbnb until 3, and we're getting in about 10:30, 11 o'clock San Diego time. So that's hours of waiting. So looking forward to it. Actually, I'll be there as an exhibitor / pro badge. Same with Kevin, and they put up the exclusives. So I was seeing what the exclusives were through the portal and see if I get anything. I doubt I will, but it's nice to get a couple of the signings and step away from the table for a minute to do a couple of the signings. But I did see where Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb are doing a signing, and then Jim Lee's got like 2 other signings, one with another person and one by himself. So
if Kevin's still watching, I don't know if he's still watching with Deadpool coming out. If he has one of those, any of that split art.
Oh yeah, he's bringing it.
He's got Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh yeah, he's bringing all that. Yeah, in fact, I did an order for us for comic size medals from Ready, and so we could split the shipping costs down. Just had it shipped all here, and I've got all his stuff here right now.
Perfect.
And I went through because I ordered some stuff too. I'm not taking everything I ordered because I just ordered a couple things. I'm gonna go through and reorganize and. What did I do? I think I did that already. I gotta go through them anyways because make sure I got everything boxed up as I start packing this week.
Nice.
It's just funny how I got to start packing just to get the weights right. So
and hopefully within the next 2 days we get word that the comics are in the warehouse here, so I can get it and bring it to your house.
Exactly. So we'll work that out once time comes for that. So
awesome.
Well, hey, we kind of ran over. It was chatting about stuff. So join us next week because I will be here next week. I just won't be here the following week. Or actually, no, I might be. We'll try to figure that out. If I can take my, I'll take my iPad with me, and if we can pop on, we'll pop on with you because it'll be 7 a.m. out in San Diego like we've done before.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Do the show. Kevin and I will pop on for a little bit before we grab breakfast that morning because Wednesday is our Hash House a Go-Go day.
Yeah. I'm jealous.
Yes. So maybe next time you can join us and all that. So, but until next week, guys, y'all have a great week.
Bye.